What up, people? This is Nas with Mass, Middle Age Still Single. If you like the content, hate, like, subscribe, but mostly subscribe. We appreciate the views. Keep following. Peace.
Right. It is Father's Day. We are here at Middle Age Still Single, the podcast. I have the normal crew with me, and we have an extra special guest. Let me say hello to the fellas. Well, happy Father's Day to everybody, fellas. You guys are all
Happy
fathers.
Father's Day. Happy
Father's Day.
Thank you.
All right. And we have a very special guest, author and dating coach and inspirer of many people, Miss Alison Verge. Alison, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We're all doing really well.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you.
We've been waiting for you. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your story. All right. Let's go back to the beginning and give us a little bit of a history on Alison.
Oh boy, there's a lot of history. Let's see. Well, about, I guess in 2015, like I had a previous career, a long career, very successful career in business, actually. And in 2015, it kind of got completely turned around. I was married for 20 years at the time to children, which I still have, luckily. Love my girls. And I had a skiing accident in 2015 that really resulted in an incurable condition that left me in a wheelchair at the time and also put an end to my 20-year marriage. And you've heard this story before. Often when life turns you upside down, things change, right? I had a choice whether to just kind of give in, which a lot of people with this condition, it's called complex regional pain syndrome. A lot of people just tend to give in to it, right? You can give in and there's obviously a lot going on, or you can fight. I chose to fight and forgive. And it was a long road, but I managed to fight my way back. And, it sort of causes you to do a lot of reflection. And I realized that although I had a very successful career at the time, I realized that there was something missing in my life. There was still a hole and I was like, there's just something not right. There's a lot I have to work on here. I have to build my health back. Obviously I want to find another relationship someday. I have to heal, but I also felt like I need to do more with my career. Because I would talk to other people. I started joining some women's groups and they would all talk about what they were doing with their lives and they were helping the world. And I was like, okay. I was working with like Coca-Cola, Kraft, LCBO, which is the Liquor Control Board of Canada. And I was like, okay, I love what I'm doing, but I'm not sure I'm doing anything for the planet. And I realized I need to do more. So I kind of dug deep and realized that I wasn't pursuing my real passion, which I went to school for psychology. I've been passionate about relationships my entire life. I've read every relationship book you can ever imagine. All my friends, everybody always comes to me for relationships. So I decided to go back to school and I became a relationship coach. After that, I decided to, once I did some healing, I entered the dating scene myself, kind of at the same time, only to realize, what the heck? Like, what happened to the world? After 20 years, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, this is nothing like it was 20 years ago. Like, that I didn't understand any of this. Like, I thought everybody had honest intentions and everything was just, I was pretty naive let's just say that, when I first entered the dating world. Soon after, because when I first was studying, I didn't know what I wanted to do with this. But once I started to really dive deep and experience it myself, I realized I had to help people who are going through this. After I navigated it, I actually had to take a step back myself after a while because it was hard. It was really hard. I was not used to this. So I stepped away. I did a lot of analysis. I did a lot of interviews with people. I was like, okay, what is going on here? I realized that there's a lot going on with me. I was like, okay, why are things not working out? And I realized that after a while, when you're on the dating scene, you can get a little bitter. You don't realize you're doing it. Because I would go on every single date, big smile. Really? Big smile. All happy. But I didn't realize that I was going to every date, and ahead of time I'm thinking mentally, why am I even doing this? Like, it's not going to work out. Like, why do I even bother dating? And when you have that negative belief, it's never really going to work out for you. Like, my thoughts were always kind of negative. Like, this dating thing sucks. And when you're always thinking negative thoughts, nothing works out. And it wasn't until I really stepped back to really analyze that and realize that it was just a big cycle, and break that and start really doing some work into, okay, what is it that I really need? And how do I turn this into a fun process rather than a negative process? And when I did that, everything changed. Like, I literally then, within a week, I swear, I met my current partner of 5 years. Like, it was quite amazing how things work. And so that's really my story in a nutshell. And I haven't turned back, like, complete, 180 of my life. And it's just, it's amazing when I look back how life can completely change, but I feel so much more fulfilled, like I'm doing something for people.
So, I've listened to a couple of your interviews, and you talk about your step process, and your first step is to really get to know yourself, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Can we go into that a little bit in depth?
Sure. Because, see, what happens with most people, I'm gathering quite a few of you have been in, relationships the first time, or serious relationships, at one point or another, in your life. And I think most of you are maybe single at this point based on your podcast. Mm-hmm. And what happens is most of us just go into relationships and we just kind of dive in, right? And most of them are based on chemistry, right? And which there's nothing wrong with that. Like, in some respects, like there's chemistry is extremely important. But the problem is we're not really choosing partners based on what we truly, really need. We don't really know what we really need. We think we know ourselves, but no one really, truly knows ourselves. And like, chemistry is a very powerful thing. It's just as strong as cocaine. It's been proven, right? And when you're in that like passionate stage, you're not making wise decisions. So you're not listening to that intuition. So it's really important before you even get to that stage to really, really dig deep within yourself and do a lot of work. So I do a lot of personality assessments. We do a lot of work on your full relationship history. And I'm not just talking romantic relationships, but we dig deep into all relationships, like 20 key relationships in your entire life. It could even be a teacher, could be anything. And that gives a lot of information into what did you really like and what did you not like. And there's always stuff you don't like in someone. There's nothing wrong with that person, but there's always, because you're different. And then we look at patterns and we begin to see, okay, this is clearly the type of person you need to be around. And this is clearly the type of person that maybe isn't ideal for you to be around every day, right? And we also begin to see things like, and I think you've had people on before, attachment issues, right? Based on you growing up. We begin to see, like, I know, Robert, you did my personality test too, my bank personality test.
Three of us did it.
That's fantastic, because when you start to do that, you start to see, okay, I know I'm this kind of personality. You start to think about, maybe it's good that I have this. Either you start to think, do I want a complementary personality, or maybe I want the opposite, but it makes you realize what you want, right? Like, you learn a lot about it, or at least when you get that partner, you realize how you need to meet in the middle. You also realize what your true values are. Every time I do an assessment with someone, they go, I know what my values are. And I go, that's great. Okay, what are they? And they go, and then they get a little tripped up. They're not entirely sure. But you really need to be clear on those to know it's okay to be different. It's okay to be different. But it's really important to really be clear on what those are and to know that they don't totally conflict, right? As well as your vision for the future. Like, have you really thought about that? Because you guys obviously love to travel. And like, I just talked to someone a couple of days ago and they love to travel. And then their partner, they found out, won't even get on a plane. Right. So if you don't have those discussions, or, you hear about people who don't talk about kids until they're already married, it's like, oh, wait, you don't want to have kids? They think they can change their mind. Right. So it's important to do all this work to figure out who you are and what do you really need and want in your life before you start looking for someone, because then it's top of mind. It's not like you need a list to go refer to. It's so front and center. So then when you go find somebody, everything's in the game. Your heart's in the game, sexually you're in the game, but your brain's in the game too. Like, I'm not a believer in, like, I hear people go, just go with your heart. Well, I'm not a believer in just go with your heart. I'm a believer in go with your head, go with your heart, go with your body too. Like, go with all three. Right? Go fully in, but make sure your head's in the game. And the only way your head can be in the game is if you do the work ahead of time. Otherwise, your head's way out there. It's just taken over because the body, the chemistry is way too powerful.
So we talk about the test. So we're all different. We're all a little different here, right? I'm an ANKB, right? And tell everybody what the test is so they don't, So yes. When they're listening to this, they understand what the test is about.
Yes. So it's called the Bank Personality Test. And to be honest, I kind of wish they called it something else, because when you send it to people, they're like, what, are you going to take my bank information? It sounds a little sketchy, but it really is as you guys saw, it's a very quick study, and it's really kind of based on your values. You kind of look at, different values, and you quickly kind of ascertain which sections you're in. But it's so accurate. Like, when I did it and I read about me, I'm like, whoa, that is so me. And then I read it just to see. I tested my friends and family. I'm like, whoa, that is you, right? And so, like, and you said ANKB. So ANKB. ANKB, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you like action, right? Like, your first position is action. So you like to be like adventurous, and you need like that attention. And so if you're in a relationship, your partner, this is where it's important, because your partner needs to understand that you're never going to be happy just sitting at home in front of the TV on the couch every weekend doing nothing. Like, they need to keep you stimulated, or you're going to lose interest pretty fast. Now, and if your partner is not like that, like if your partner is maybe first position K or B, they may not be like that. And that's okay. But that's where you need to meet in the middle. And you need to understand that they may not be that comfortable going out and being at parties all the time and just being out there full energy all the time. But, they're going to need to do a little bit of that. And you're going to need to like stay at home and be quiet sometimes, right? You need to meet in the middle and compromise, right? And your second position is a nurturer, which that's my first position. So you're possibly is sentimental. So you're probably loving, and you like nicely written words to you, like words of affection, nice, sentimental gifts and stuff like that. You're a loving person. That's a nurturer. That's, and typically coaches and stuff are nurturers. So it kind of makes sense. K is knowledge. So anybody who's a K here is someone who, and this is really good for sales. A lot of people use this for sales because, like, if you are selling to a K person, you better have your facts and figures right. Because a K person, if you're selling to them, like, well, this is, 20% this, 20% that, this is backed up by this, backed up by that. Like, they want to know facts and figures. Don't give me all this fluff, right? Where I go a lot on emotion, which is, I've learned that's a mistake sometimes. Like, I've been burned before because I'm like, but they seem so nice. Now I realize I've got to back it up with references, right? But I can get so consumed by somebody's personality. I have to remind myself, oh, wait a second. Yeah, you've got to check out more. Just because they're nice doesn't mean they're good, Alison. So, because K is not my first position. So K is really all about facts, figures, could be technology. And B likes planning, organization, tradition, culture. So, I mean, it can be a good mix, like with, for instance, an A and a B can be a good compromise, because an A can be like a little wild at times and B can be very structured. So sometimes it could be a good balance, but they need to understand that and meet in the middle. So that's where it's like great. Like it's such a quick test, right? So I actually think it's fun. I often tell my clients, hey, like if you're out there dating, just send it, see if they don't mind doing that for fun. Because then you can learn a lot about that person and how to react with them.
I think we're all A. Nas, what were you?
I'm an NAKB.
No. Oh, okay. And Nas, what are you?
Ah, okay.
An AKB. I am
And Mitchell, what are you?
AKBN.
I'm an AKNB,
Is that bad?
but it could have gone either way. Could have been BN, but I'm probably closer to an AKNB.
Okay. And Nemo?
Sorry, unfortunately, I was.
Oh, that's right. That's right. 3 of you did it.
Yeah.
You'll have to do it after and let me know what you are. But that's interesting, and it makes sense because you guys are all on a podcast, like to be out there front and center. So your A's, you probably wouldn't find somebody in a last position in A who's out there doing a podcast front and center. They probably would not want to do that.
Nas, you got questions? I know you got some questions for Miss Alison here.
Oh yeah. I was watching your podcast with I think the guy's name is Nick. You remember that one? And when you got to the end of your podcast, you said, "Hey, maybe the next time we can talk about." Let me see. Let me look at my notes. Female nature and flirting.
Yeah.
How about let's talk about that right now?
Here, I can do it right now for you.
Yes, I do.
You have our attention.
There you go. There you go.
I was just joking about this the other day on another podcast because it is amazing to me, like how each sex does not get it. Like we don't understand sometimes when you guys like us and you guys are not getting the signals when we like you. And I'm quite amazed. Like, even when I met my boyfriend, I was like, what? You didn't know that I really liked you? I was giving every single signal that I've never given another guy that I really liked you. Like, no, I didn't. I was really not sure. And I'm like, what? I was like what do you want me to do? So if a woman, like,
we have no idea.
Heard, like, the hair thing. Like, I know, like, if I'm doing this, putting their hair, it is really a real thing. Like if she's doing this a lot,
that's a real thing.
Sometimes we just do that, right? But if she's doing it a lot, she's worried about how she's looking around you. Like if she's not on a podcast and worried about how she's looking on air, she's worried about how she's looking around you. She cares. If leaning in is a good sign, like leaning closer. If leaning back, crossing arms, not a good sign, right? Anything closed, like sometimes we do cross our legs, but anything when you're open, like the more open you are means the more willing we are to be with you. Like, and you start seeing someone kind of looking around the room, probably not the best sign. But if we're really engaged with you, like when I'm liking somebody, I will be looking really closely in their eyes, but I will make sure I smile more, I laugh more. So that's a good sign. But say you're across the room, and this is where I just don't get why guys don't get this. Like if we look at you, right, and then look away, but we look again at you and look away and maybe look again, like it's a good sign. Like,
that's
why?
So subtle, though.
I can tell you why, Alison. Because we've all gotten shot down when we misinterpret we misinterpreted
okay.
what that was, right? Or
Okay,
she
Or
was
we
doing
just
it to the
didn't read
6
it,
foot guy
or we
behind
just
us.
didn't read it like you
I'm
meant it.
5'7".
but you know what you do then?
It could have been. She could have been looking at it. She could have been trying to get Nemo or Robert's attention, and my 5'7" behind is right in front of him, and she's making those faces. No, but I'm just saying, like, I think the guys are just very insecure about that because we just don't want to get. Women can be brutal when it comes to responding to men, and we always have to make the first move, but we always have to deal with that.
And I feel bad for that. I always tell my female
knife in the
clients,
chest
like,
if it
I
comes
feel
like
bad.
that.
You can't assume that the guy's not interested because you don't know if the guy's just shy or scared to come up to you. So don't assume he's not interested. It's okay to at least open the door. Like, you don't have to right out make the first move, but kind of walk over there, make it quite obvious. Like, it doesn't have to be, hey, how are you? It can be just ordering a drink right beside him. Hey, like, what drink is good here? You just open the conversation, right? So I try to get them to do that at least. But if you meet eye contact and you're just not sure, is it me? Then at least, like, remove yourself from where you are, go to another part of the room, see if she still catches your gaze there. And if she's still following you there, like, come on, or walk by her.
Gotcha.
And then if she's like, gives you a little smile as you walk by, it's a pretty good indication, right? So do a double check, right? But then you've got to ask, okay, you took a chance. Good for you. Like, if she has a negative reaction, well, good. You avoided something negative by not being with her. Like, too bad for her, right? That she's not with you. But you took a chance. Like, that's great. Like, but I know it must be hard. I can't even imagine. It must be difficult being you guys. More women should be doing it. But how would you feel? Like, tell me, how would you feel if a woman came up to you and picked you up? Would you think anything different of her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a big shot in the arm. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a big confidence builder.
So it's okay that I'm telling my female clients, because I always wonder, am I doing the right thing telling my female clients this? Because, you always hear about the chase and all that stuff, but I'm like, I still think it's good to tell them to open the door. Like, but because I always hear that, because I have male clients too, and I always hear this theme. They would be very happy for women to do that.
Especially now, Alison, because it is almost you can pass a woman on the next block and get put in jail.
It really is.
So it's like, it's like this is a very complicated time for men to be approaching, to be approaching women. I mean, people are making all these crazy accusations. I mean, we don't want to think about that when we're trying to meet people, but it's really a real thing. And men are just not sure, I mean, so women really should kind of do the things that you said, which probably what comes to them naturally, but also recognize what men are facing right now in the culture. And maybe take that one more step just to let them know,
we need to get the word out more
safe.
about that. You're absolutely right. You guys don't have it easy that way. So, well, hopefully the word will get out there with this podcast.
Yeah, we're going to need you to tell all your female friends, Alison. That...
Yes, we will. Well, you need to come to Canada because they're more open.
Yeah, we're going to push it too.
I heard Canada has a lot of beautiful
it's
women.
on the list.
Canada does have a lot of beautiful
women.
Canada's
Canada,
on the
really
list.
Is. We're all amazing.
For sure.
That's fact.
We've had 3 Canadian women already on the show.
Yeah, this is true. Well, we've had three Canadian women.
You got to come this way.
And all of them are, you guys are hot,
genuine and Canadian people in general, but the Canadian women are just very genuine, outgoing, very kind. Yeah. It's a great culture.
Well, thank you. I do kind of feel that way about a lot of the Canadians. It's funny, I was doing a little research on Canadians, and that's what came up actually, that we're pretty genuine and have a lot of values and polite. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's kind of the overall feeling about Canadians.
Where in Canada are you, Alison?
I'm in Toronto.
Okay. East Coast.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you
Now,
been?
Jeff,
Have any of you been to Canada? I know, Robert, you haven't, but
Yeah,
have
I've
not
spent
yet.
a lot of time in BC, Kelowna, and which is really the wine country of capital of Canada. It's like your Napa Valley.
yeah.
Um, and then Vancouver is absolutely one of the most stunning cities I've ever been in.
Yes, it's beautiful. I have family out there. My dad used to live in Kelowna, so it's really
Oh
beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah. It's one of my favorite places. I have some authentic Greek friends out there. They own Olympia Greek Tavern, and I go up there a couple times. Once every other year, and it's just so much fun. The Okanagan, and yeah, the fishing's fantastic up there. So
it's a lovely place.
Naz, any more questions for Miss Allison?
Yeah, Alison, can you tell us about
Okay. Yes. Well, again, that's kind of
unique selling
goes along the
proposition?
same lines of really learning about who you are. Like what I do, I find that when my clients come to me, and I deal with a lot of professionals, and you would never know that they lack in some confidence because they're really confident in their jobs. A lot of them are very successful, but often, dating has kind of hit them a little bit, right? Like, like you said, the men, like, they've been turned down or things have been happening. Same with the women, things are just not happening. So we do a lot of confidence building. And one of the key things is like, I write really great profiles with my clients. And I am a big believer in, I take a little bit of a business approach to dating because when you're an entrepreneur, I kind of believe in niching down when it comes to dating, because when the problem with online dating is you're going out there and you are in essence a needle in a haystack. You are so small amongst so many people. And the problem is that people are trying to be appealing to everybody. So they go write a profile and they try to make it wonderful so everybody likes them, and then they funnel down from there. And that's a huge mistake. And that's why there's so much riffraff, and they're like, oh, there's no good people out there. I hear that all the time. There's nobody good. I'm just going to give up. Instead, what you need to do is really build up your confidence, really figure out what are my serious unique qualities, my best qualities. I even have them go ask like friends, family, what do you love about me? Then, and really after we've done all this work on themselves, we take all of that and we build the story of them. And their profile is built, and it's almost like creating a niche for them. And it's built so that we're actually repelling certain people and drawing in the right ones. So it's like they're on the right highway for the right person for them to finally come in, because otherwise there's so much noise out there that person who is actually right for them, or I don't really believe in necessarily there's one soulmate. There can be a few. So the few people who are right for them are lost right now out there in all the weeds. But when you actually write the right profile tailored to who you are and what you really truly need, that's when the right people actually can find you. Because right now it's just too much mess. So that's what unique selling proposition is. What is truly your unique selling proposition? That's what it is.
All right. Nemo's got his yellow card out. Question, Nemo?
Yes, Alison, I have a question. You
Awesome.
deal with a lot of professionals.
Yes.
So do you have some that are so independent that it's hard for them to find dating?
Very good question. Yes, almost all of them.
Thank you. Thank you, Naz. Thank you, Alison. Go ahead, Alison.
That
I didn't say anything, Alison. Please go ahead.
You trying to call me out?
that actually has become a big issue now. There is a lot of avoidant personality types out there, right? Some people who do tend to just, feel they want the relationship and then avoid it for a lot of reasons. That is one reason. But one of the reasons with professionals now is, and especially with women, and is that nowadays women, and I was one of them, and I mean, I still am, but obviously I'm in a relationship now, but women are pretty powerful these days, right? And it's good. It's a good thing, right? But the problem is there's not clearly defined roles anymore, like there was in the past. So it's pretty easy for male and female to attract. The only way, and this is true chemistry, this is real, that a female and a male attract is with female and male energy, right? And typically males are 80% male energy and females are 80% female energy. Not always, but you need, it's like different magnets, you need the male and the female energy in order to attract. And what happens is that females nowadays are quite powerful out in the workforce, and they keep that hat on and they go out on the date and they don't take it off. And I always tell, they go, what, I need to dumb it down? And I'm like, no. You do not need to dumb it down at all. But if you keep that kind of male energy on and you go out on the date, you've got male energy and male energy, and it doesn't matter how beautiful you are or how smart you are, it's going to repel. And that is one of the reasons why a lot is happening, right? You need to get that softening for both sexes to really attract again. So that is one of the major things that is happening nowadays. And obviously professionals, they're working a lot. It's hard to really find that time to really dedicate to dating and, really spending that time to get to know somebody and figure out who they are. So there's so many things that are involved, like things are kind of impersonal nowadays. So there's so much that's happening. Life is different now, but we need to really understand, like, even just a little bit of history. And it's totally great that now we have equality, but just naturally at the core, men need to feel like helpers and women need to feel listened to and understood and nurtured. It's just a natural thing, right, that needs to occur. So that is one of the problems that is happening. When I've said that to a lot of women, they're like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm not. And I was doing the same thing. I thought men maybe were so interested that I was like, pretty powerful, pretty successful and whatever. But you need to not conduct a job interview when you're on a date, right? You need to remember that you're on a date.
Alison, we're going to rally to add that to Genesis. That whole section right there. In the beginning, women were feminine.
You hit one of his triggers too, Alison.
Men were masculine.
That's why I brought it up.
Oh, I like to jump out of his seat when she said that. I knew I liked you for a reason, Alison.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions from Miss Alison
She's
here?
smart.
No.
Nope.
All right. Yeah. Ms.
Good
Alison,
information, though.
Yeah, this has been great information.
Nah, man, I got to process.
We're gonna have you come back again. Originally, we had talked about like using Nemo as an example, and letting everybody know what kind of woman you would suggest that he date. And she gave me a little something, but I'm gonna save it for next time because
Okay.
we're running a little late. Listen,
All right.
we appreciate you so much for coming on, Alison. Thank you. Listen, keep spreading the word. We want to come up and seriously, we would love. Oh, and you have a book on Amazon, right?
It's called Radical Self-Love.
Okay, we bought the last books that they had today. We went on. We did. We went on and we bought 4. There were only 4 books left, and we bought the last one. So we're all going to read it. And listen, please come back. We want to continue this conversation. We didn't get through everything. We want to get a little bit more into the bank code and find out a little bit more about ourselves. So please come back.
I would love to, and I'd love to. You guys come our way, and we'll show you a good time. We'll show you all about Toronto and the wonderful women that are here. So I think that's what's missing. You guys haven't experienced Canadians.
We're all about a good time too.
For a
Absolutely.
long time. We have had a good time for a long time.
Yes.
Do they like chocolate up there? Yeah.
Thank you, Alison.
Thank you.